Hello guys, good morning. I'm here to tell you about importance of decision making for getting success in life today. Uh, as you know, even for attending this session, you must have thought several times whether I should go or not go, whether I should go for another lecture. So, decision making is an inescapable phase of life, and it determines the quality of decisions you take will determine the quality of life ahead. We keep making several decisions habitually in a routine way, but there are certain decisions which are important decisions in life for which we give a lot of thought before taking the decision. So all in all, decision making takes place when there is some problem to solve or some choice to make. Therefore, decision making is of paramount importance as a mental process in solving problems, of acquiring and using resources to achieve goals. Making decisions. Why do we make decisions? We make decisions in order to reach to our set goals. So decision making is the activity, or it is the process where we analyze our resources to reach our set goals. In management, or in various business houses or in industries, decision making is considered as the heart of management. We also call it as crux of management, because the profit or losses of the companies, of the industries, many a times depends on timely, correct and rational decision making. So is the case with everybody's life. If we make rational decisions or effective decisions or intelligent decisions, then only we get success. There are chances of getting success in life. As I said, there are different types of decisions taken in life. There are certain routine decisions. There are certain routine decisions. As you understand, whenever you get up in the morning, you don't think about now what to do. You straight away rush to washroom, and you brush your teeth and you take bath and all those things. So it's a routine decision, because of its repetitiveness, because of its routine, it has become habituated. You have become habituated to it, so you don't give much thought to your routine decisions, and you act automatically. But sometimes, even in your routine decisions, you are influenced by your external environment. Say, on one fine day, you go to the washroom and there is no water in the tap. So naturally, now you have to take decision, how do I brush my teeth? From where do I get water? So now you'll have some options from where to get water. So even routine decisions are influenced by your external environment sometimes. Routine decisions or habitual decisions are the simplest of decisions, or you can say that they are at the lowest level of decision making. But at certain times of your life time, you have to take important decisions depending on achieving your goal. If you value education, and if you want to go to you want to have good education, then you have to take important decisions from where you have to get educated, which stream, which college, which university, which city, all those things. Marriage is another such phase of life where you have to take very important decisions. Building a house, and likewise there are important spans in your life when you have to take very stringent, very effective, very rational, very correct decisions. And in such cases, in such important spans of your life, when you have to take decisions, those decisions cannot be reversed. So you have to be very, very careful while taking such important decisions. Then there are some decisions which can be changed also. Say, for example, for buying any consumer product, you have purchased some product, a watch or a consumer durable or a simple commodity, and if you don't like it, so you can change it. Though you had taken a good decision, thinking so many things, but this is a decision of buying a consumer product. It whenever you are doing e-purchasing also, there are options that if you don't like the product, you can return it and it can be changed. So there are different type of phases of life where you take different type of decisions. As I said, routine decisions, very important or crucial decisions, and certain decisions like purchasing a consumer product, they can be reversed also. So, as I said, decision making is called for when conditions have changed or a problem has arisen. Whenever there is change in your circumstances, you have to resort to taking a rational decisions. And amongst these, some decisions are crucial, some are essential, and some are non-consequential. Like whether you take lunch at 1 o'clock or at 2 o'clock, it doesn't have any consequence. But there are certain decisions which have very serious consequence. So we have to be very careful while taking decision. And you use decision making to achieve your goals, as I said earlier also. So basically, uh, why we make decision? We make decision because we have set goals in life, and to reach those goals you must have some resources, and these resources are very limited or they are scarce. So you will have to weigh your resources, you will have to weigh your limitations, that which goal is important and which resources should be diverted to achieving that important goal. So you do decision making to achieve your goal, and in achieving your goal you have to assess your standard also. Say, for example, you want to become graduate. Now getting a graduation degree is your goal, but your standard would be getting first class first or getting a gold medal. Or just passing marks. If I get passing marks, then also it's okay. So for achieving your goal, you have to assess your standards, and this will act or this will help you for attaining desired quality of life, whether you want a comfortable life or more than comfortable life, or whatever is your dream about the quality of life. Dear students, uh, after giving this prelude about decision making, I would like to take you to the decision making process. Uh, Decision making process is a mental process. It's a regressive process. You have to go step by step in order to make a rational decision. And a simple decision does not need many alternatives, or not many not much thought process is needed. But when you are making a rational decision, a lifetime decision, you have to adopt a process. And in this process there are various steps, and in the present discussion we will be talking about 5 steps to decision making. And first and foremost is defining the problem. What is the problem for which you want to take decision? At the second stage comes identifying the alternatives. Now, for your problem, there would be various alternatives how you can solve this problem. So you have to be very creative, very smart in identifying the alternatives. Now, once you have identified the alternatives, you have to analyze every alternative. I'm going from down to up. You'll have to analyze the alternatives. You will have to act out the consequences of each alternative mentally in your thoughts. Then after this process comes the step of selecting an alternative. You have to be very judgmental in selecting an alternative. After weighing all the alternatives, you have to select one alternative. And here it is said that you have made a decision. As soon as you make an alternative, you select an alternative, you make a decision. And the decision making process does not end here. There is one more foremost important step in decision making, and that is action and accepting the responsibility for the decision. That is, you have to take responsibility for that taken decision. After taking the decision, if it does not work well, you don't have to give its responsibility to somebody else. If your mother's friends, siblings had given you some alternatives, had suggested you some alternatives, and in the end if you have selected one alternative, and you will say that I failed because of you, you told me to do this. Okay, you told me to do this, but nobody told you to select this alternative. So it's a very big lesson and a very important step, that once you take a decision, you stand by the decision, whether it's a success or a failure. Now we'll go to each step separately, and we'll see that in a little bit detail, that what is done in each step. So first step for rational decision making or for effective decision making is define your problem. Let's see what all comes in defining the problem. Decision making does not take place until you recognize it is necessary. It is just like diagnosing a doctor diagnosing the disease of a patient. If you go to doctor, he will certainly will check you clinically. He will give you some tests, some diagnosis, and on the basis of that only he will decide which medicine is to be prescribed to you. Similarly, when you are faced with any problem in life, in day to day or in crucial stages of life, you have to very critically recognize what exactly is the problem. Let me give you one example, that the parents identify that their child is not getting good scores in school, and they decide or that they should give tuition or extra coaching to the child for making up. But in this course, they have not thought about any other alternative, that why they have not analyzed the problem, that why the child is getting low grades in school. So analyzing problem is very important. There can be various reasons for which the child is not getting good grades. One they have recognized is that the child is needs extra coaching, but there could be other problems also, that he has a poor health, because of which he cannot concentrate in the studies. There could be his eyesight could be weak, because of which he cannot concentrate, or the child is not motivated enough to study in the class. So the problem needs analysis, the problem needs to be defined, and until and unless you define the problem clearly, you cannot go ahead to the next step. So defining your problem, why the problem, is very very important, and it will determine, if you determine your problem at the first phase, you will be able to go to the next steps more intelligently. And that will affect your ultimate decision. So this is defining your problem. I hope you have understood this. There could be several examples for this defining your problem. Um as I gave one about the child, the homemaker in the family can also have a working lady can have problem that she's not able to cope up. What could be the probable reasons? Even you as a student, if you are also not getting good marks in your semester exam, what could be the reasons? So why, what all things are there? So defining your problem is very, very, very important. So let's move on to the next step, that is identifying the alternatives. You have a problem. So what are the alternatives which could solve that problem? So gathering information and resources is the next step. Let's see what all will form the subject matter of this particular step. Effective decision making occurs when you identify all the possible alternatives. This would enable you to make the best selection. Now, searching alternatives or gathering information is very, very important, and for this varies from individual to individuals. You must have observed among your friends or people around you that some are very aware. Uh, they know so many avenues. They are intelligent, they are creative, and they are resourceful. uh, and they for doing any a simple example I'll give you. If you want to if you want to purchase a mobile phone, then if I am not much aware, I know that so and so, my friend or my child or my colleague is very much good at this, web searching and all these things, and what is the rating of this particular company or this particular mobile. So people are very resourceful. If you are resourceful, you ask your friends, colleagues, you see the rating on the website, which model or which company is better. So your searching of alternatives is dependent on your personal knowledge, on your personal traits. And if you don't have personal traits, you should be resourceful enough. I as a teacher find that out of a class of 50 students, there are hardly 4 5 students who come to me and who will ask me that, madam, we want to go for post graduation, please tell us which will be the good areas, or which are the good universities, or how to go about, and all those things. So when you have to explore the alternatives, the important alternatives. Another example, if I give you, as soon as you passed your senior secondary, so you wanted to go to college, and you had done PCB or PCM. So you must had some goals. Some people would have want to become engineer, some wanted to go for medicine, and some wanted to go for MBA, or some for the UPSC, like that. Now that is your goal, and for achieving that goal you have to search various alternatives. So you could search that if you want to go in a university, or you want to take a degree in agriculture, or you want to get engineering. So you will make a list of all the nearby and far off universities, colleges. You will see their rating, you will see their placements, and you will see the infrastructure. So all these alternatives, what is their fees, you will also see that, because your resources will determine what will you select later. So you have to make various, you have to identify, you should list down various alternatives, gather as much information as you could, because there are chances that once you make the decision, you will regret that, oh, had I known this alternative, my decision would have been something else. So don't give a chance to gathering of decisions. You must uh, gather as much information as you can. So gathering information or searching for alternatives is very, very important. And seeking alternatives may not be followed for routine decisions. As I said earlier, routine decisions, you don't have to, they become so habituated that you don't need to select many alternatives for routine decisions. But for important decisions, as purchase of very costly consumer durable, you have to purchase a refrigerator, or you have to purchase a car. So you have to get information about various alternatives. What are the modes of payment, what are the companies, what are the features, so all these things. Now let's move on to the next step, the third step, and that is thinking through alternatives or weighing and comparing options. Now once you have gathered all the alternatives which can solve your problem, now you have to think through each alternative, or you have to weigh the advantages and disadvantages of each alternative. Say, for example, while attending this college, this university, you were placed in somewhere near area, like whether you were in Banswara or Dungarpur or some near vicinity, and you wanted to go to university. So you must have seen universities at Udaipur, at Jaipur, at Jodhpur, or you must have also seen university out of state. You must have seen university abroad. So now you have to think through alternatives. Like if I select this alternative, if I select the alternative to after my masters to go to some foreign university, so will my parents be financially strong enough to support my studies? Or your other alternative would be that you will give some scholarship exam and you will get a scholarship. So will I get enough scholarship to sustain myself in an abroad university? Or whether if I stay privately, uh, uh, or if I stay in a hostel. So that way you have to weigh your resources, advantages and disadvantages. Shall I go to a private university, or shall I go to a government university, or independent university, autonomous university? So you have to think through alternatives, all the alternatives. You, in a way, you have to imagine or dramatically play each alternative, whether this would be okay, what will be the advantages, what will be the disadvantages. And once this task is done, you weigh your and compare options, you come to the next okay, I have told you all these things earlier. And one important thing is, when you weigh your alternatives, then the chances of risk factor involved in decision making are reduced. There are chances that the decision you take will be successful itself, will be successful. So the risk factor involved in decision making will be reduced by extensively evaluating the alternatives. And one very important thing in this process, or in this step, is one should not take too long a time for this process. One should not take too long a time. So timing of decision is very, very important, which might end up in hindering the progress due to untimely decisions. बीमारी अभी है, you are sick now, and you keep postponing your visit to the doctor, thinking that whether I should go to this doctor or that doctor, or this hospital or that hospital, to this city or that city. And ultimately, when you land up, you decide a good hospital and a good doctor, and you go there, and he will say that you are too late. So when you are thinking through alternatives, you are weighing and comparing your options, uh, or I'll give you your own example. When you were searching for universities, and ultimately in the end you selected one university, and when you approached that university, they said, oh, we have entrance exam and that is already over in February, and you are approaching us in July. So timing is very important in this. You think through alternatives, but take the decision or in time. And the next step, as I said, uh, will be selecting an alternative. You make a decision. You make a decision. What all is as I said, thinking through alternatives, and in selecting an alternative, you should not delay. And once you have taken a decision, then uh, when you have taken a decision, you cannot go back. And if the decision is delayed, not taken at the right time, you will have frustration and further deterioration in taking the decision. So selecting an alternative is very, very important, and you make a decision here. And as I said earlier also, last step, that is the accepting the consequence of decisions, is very important. That is taking responsibility of the taken decision. uh, uh, you should not, if God forbid, if you don't succeed in taking your decision, you should not say that it is because of him or her, I was advised on this and that. You took the decision, so it is your own responsibility. And if you take if you go through this step, you adopt this step, uh, this will help you to refine your skills and decision making in future decisions. You will be able to make future rational decisions if you accept the consequences of decisions, and it gives you self confidence for making effective decisions. So it is very, very important to uh, accepting the consequences of decisions. So I think I have made clear the 5 steps which are to be taken for making a rational decision, for making an effective decision. I would also like to draw your attention to some types of decision making, like what are the different approaches to decision making. Sometimes we take impulsive decisions, देखा और कर दिया, impulsive decisions. Sometimes we make imitative decisions or imitative behavior, because my uncle's son has done this, he has gone for this stream, I will go for this stream. So this is imitative behavior or imitative decision making. Sometimes you are very intuitive, that sixth sense, your sixth sense says that I must take this decision. And there are advantages and disadvantages of all these approaches. And one is rational decision making, which I have just explained to you, that rational decision making involves moving step by step. And another approach to uh, uh, decision making is satisficing behavior. Sometimes we are under a lot of stress if we have to take a decision. So any one or second or third alternative we get which gives us satisfaction, we take a decision, because we don't want to prolong the stress of taking decision making. So that is a satisfying behavior. You are satisfied, oh, this is okay, ये वाला ठीक है. So these are different approaches to decision making. So now I'm quite sure that whatever I have told you would enable you to make rational decisions in your life. And mind you, students, that taking right decision at the right time, thinking through alternatives, will uh, will give success, will promise success in your life. And decision making is very, very important. Every moment we are making some or the other decision. The difference is only that some decisions are routine and habitual, and some decisions are our lifetime decisions for which we have to give a lot of thinking. We have to go through 5 steps to make a rational decision. And I assure you that if you practice these steps in your life, you will be a successful person and you'll have a good quality of living, a happy, comfortable living. So, thank you. ये काम तो मैं कर